You can make sure you tell Jacob that.
I'm gonna tell him. Yeah, right. Sorry, bro.
Um, then you got one of the more experienced rooms in this building.
Yep.
What's it been like this spring to get those guys back, and how's it been?
Man, it's been awesome. I was telling them earlier, when we started spring, man, we have one of the more experienced group in there. But also we have a youngin in there that's coming along very, very well right now. And so, it helps having, four guys coming back, with Valdo, Luke, B, and Micah, and then adding Rico has been really good. And so I think the biggest thing for them now is just locking into the small things, right? Locking into the details of how we do stuff. Instead of just knowing what to do, is knowing the how and the why. And so that's where they've got to take their game to the next level. And it's been a great spring, and seeing those guys elevate their game.
How different is Valdo from last year at this time to now?
It's a light years ahead. I think now he kind of has that confidence that he can play in this league. And now after going through a full season of playing against the guys that we play against, he's playing with a lot more confidence. Now we're just honing in on the skill set, right? Honing in on the top of the routes, how to create separation if it's not there, and just improving in the run game, which that's something that he's been focusing on this spring. And it's been really, really good to see, Luke kind of, hey man, this is what will help, with the footwork. Luke is kind of the other coach out there for me. And then also with Valdo, talking to Luke and B and Michael, like, hey, this is what I try to do on my releases or the top of my route, and try to create that space. So, that helps having a veteran room. So they're all there coaching each other, which is what you want. And so again, and especially Micah taking Rico under his wing. Man, it's been awesome to see, and man, it's a room that's very unselfish, but competes. And man, it's been a blessing.
Rivaldo told us, I think he told us that he wanted to be the best tight end in the SEC, and a lot of players talk like that.
Yep.
Is Rivaldo putting in that type of work to potentially get there?
He is, and that's what we always challenge him with. Man, what does your 24 hours look like? And I told him yesterday, the one thing that I love about, Kobe Bryant was the way that he got ahead of everybody else. Was everybody's waking up at 6 o'clock to go work out, where he's waking up at 3. So he's getting those extra work in. So that's what we challenge our guys, but especially Valdo, man, what are you doing outside of just what we're doing in football? And he's constantly out there with Payne and those guys, catching and throwing, seeing him on the sled machine. And so, man, I think his mindset is to be the best. And the only way for you to be the best is continue to improve on those details. And for me, I think he's, the best one to come back in this league. And so I'm excited to see what he continues to do.
What about Brandon Fraser? Last year was kind of, he had a few of those plays, but it was kind of the first breakout opportunity he had. How much more confident is he now than the guy you saw last year?
For them to see how we used the tight ends in this offense last year and coming into this year, B is playing with a lot of confidence. What's helping right now is he's kind of trimmed down some weight, so he's playing around 255. Where I think when we first got here last year, he was at 272. And so for him, just seeing the success that he has, because he is a big body that can run, that can catch, played basketball, and so man, him and the way that we use our guys in our offense, it's just the way that his game is going right now. He made a huge catch yesterday, and so just to see him in his game and just trusting us through the process through it has been really, really good to see.
What is sort of Rico Walker's skill set? What do you think he brings to the tight end room? And how do you feel about him so far?
When you look at Rico, man, he is built very well. The first thing that comes to your mind is, especially with him playing edge in high school, is just the intensity, the physicality. So you think on the ball tight end, guys that can like Luke Deal. But when you flex him out and you see him open up and run, he does some things naturally that I haven't had to coach with what he's doing. And so for him to show that through the first couple of practices, I think he's got, similar to Mike, guys that can do both in the box and if we need to flex him out, he'll be able to do stuff like that. So it's been a great addition for our room.
I know you're trying to get Rivaldo there in that situation where he can do both.
Yep.
How much does it help the offense when you don't have to substitute necessarily, and you can have guys that can do both, and that puts more pressure on the defense over that?
It helps a lot, and that's where we try to get our guys, especially Luke. We know what Luke can bring, right? But we want to make sure that, if Coach calls 4 verts and Luke's in the game, I don't want to tell Coach, you can't call that, right? And so for them to be kind of a Swiss Army knife, we know their strengths and their weaknesses and where they need to improve. But again, I think that's where Rivaldo is kind of to take his mindset to be the best tight end in the country, is to improve what he does in the box, and it's been really good to see the physicality part of it kind of click now.
Ben, as far as Rivaldo, he had a great season last year. What do you want to see from him this year? What are the things specifically that you're like, here's where you need to step up and take next steps to become a better
You asked that question. 3 things that come to mind is obviously the stuff that we do in the box, right? Just the physicality and trusting himself. Like, dude, you are 250 pounds, right? And you've got to play that way. So improving what he does in the box, and we've covered that. He's doing a really good job of it right now. 2 is just understanding what we can do at the top of the route, right? How to create that separation. And 3rd, just when we expect you to make a big play, there's some drops and some things that he did last year that we've seen you make that play against Cal. Seen you make that play against Georgia. We expect it every time. Right, and for only way for you to do that is just to continue to play with confidence. And so I think those are the 3 areas, right, in the box, top of the route, how we can create some separation and make the quarterback feel comfortable. And then whenever that big play is coming our way, man, we expect you to make it every time.
We mentioned a lot of older guys. That means a lot of guys that you'll have to replace after this year. How important is this 25 recruiting class for you in terms of replenishing this room?
Man, it's super important. I think, like we talked about, we're going to lose 3 of those guys. Obviously, Valdo, Luke, and Brandon. And so this 25 class is super important to us. I think we've done a great job so far at it. And continue to evaluate the talent and how it fits our room. I think, with us losing Valdo, I think that's where Micah and Rico come into play and continue to take that game to the next level. So to answer your question, this 25 class is vital in how we continue to build the room for the future.
How valuable is playing multiple guys and using them when you start talking to guys in recruiting and you're going, hey, we're going to take multiple tight ends, but we use multiple guys? Is that a big deal?
It is a big deal. So a lot of these kids, man, it's so easy for us to talk to them about how we use multiple tight ends. But the most important thing that I've told them is, man, show me, coach. We talk about, you use 11, 12, 13, and we watched film yesterday. We were in 14 personnel quite a bit last year. And so for us to get recruits in the building and show them, like, hey, look at what we've done with our tight ends, and obviously with Waldo and his success last year, it's a good recruiting tool for us.